Our first speaker is Maurits van Rees, and he's about to talk to you about the state of Plone Backend. Yeah, have fun.
So yeah, my name is Maurits van Rees. I am Plone Release Manager, mostly for the backend part, which includes Classic UI. I have my own company since beginning of last year, basically, by 76. So I do work as a freelancer there. But something far more important than this presentation is actually happening today. Is that doing anything? Oh. Yeah, it's my son's birthday. He's 5 years old today. And we went to Waterloo. Yeah, we live in Belgium. And he likes Napoleon. Even though Napoleon lost there, but okay, a detail. So topics for today. I'll share a timeline of what's been happening so far and is planned for Plone 6 and Plone 7. We need to talk about setup tools, build out, and a peculiar horse that we'll see. Some core add-ons. What we're going to do with Classic UI page templates. Then what's happening with Python 3.14. And a bit about Finland. I've been here, I think it was in 2016, so 9 years ago in March. So there was a bit more snow. And it was in Salla-Tunturi. That's about 600 kilometers to the north, so a bit over the North Pole, over the pole circle actually. So I'll share some pictures there. And it was nice there. Here as well, by the way. So this is actually a slide from my talk 1 year ago and also 2 years ago. But the Plone Backend direction, that's just useful to have in your head for some things that are planned for Plone 6.x. It helps to know which direction we are going in general. So in Plone 6, especially if you use Volto, then you have your Volto frontend that talks to the Plone REST API, and below Plone REST API you have the what you can call the Classic UI backend, because the backend and Classic UI that's intertwined. And in Plone 7, if you use Volto, that still talks to the REST API. But then it would only talk to the real core backend of Plone, and the Classic UI part should have been removed from there as far as possible. And if you still use Classic UI, which will still be around, which I will be using as well, you would have the Classic UI, which is more separate and talking to that same backend that Volto in the end is using. So that's the direction that we're going in. And there are some changes needed there because if you want to split Classic UI and backend, some things are needed. So Plone 6.0 is already almost 3 years old. That's more than I expected really, but time flies when you're having fun. It's actually, officially it was out of maintenance support already at the end of last year because we've said, 2 years of maintenance support. But Plone 6.1 was not finally out yet, so we've obviously extended that. But 6.1 is out currently. And there is security support until at least the end of 2027. So from 5 years after the first official release. And if Plone 7 takes a bit longer, then we might extend that period also. 6.1, the first alpha was actually released at the beginning of 24, and then we had 5 alpha releases, and 9 months later the first beta. And 2 beta releases, then a first release candidate at the beginning of this year. And then 1 week later we said, it's fine, and we make the final release in February. And the latest is 6.13 currently, released last week. And Plone 6.1, that has maintenance support until Plone 6.2 comes out. At that point you are supposed to move over. And that should not be too hard. That's basically the promise when moving to a new Plone minor release. That should not be too hard. In the past it may have been otherwise, but we're trying. Plone 6.2, there's no release yet. We do expect an alpha release at least this year. Final release is probably more beginning of next year. If we're fast and everything is good enough, it can happen sooner. But at least, the main ingredient before we're going to make an alpha release is the native namespaces in packages. We'll talk about length about those namespaces and setup tools and stuff in the rest of the talk. And then, we make it a Plone 6.3, mostly because Plone 7 will probably take a bit longer to really get ready. And there maybe we'll have to see if there are enough reasons to say, we need too much things to put into making too many bigger changes that can't really go into 6.2. Then we may do a Plone 6.3 release. And that should then be more end of the year, end of next year, and Plone 7 expected early 2027. We went on a dog sled ride, and that was really a vacation, so nothing for work or something. And these guys were really enthusiastic, were barking really loud because every dog over there wanted to go with us. And then, do this, so that was really nice. Just a bit of reminder of what changed in Plone 6.1. The main changes. It's only for Python 3.10, so older versions got dropped. TinyMCE got moved from Plone 5, from TinyMCE 7. Sorry, rewind. TinyMCE 5 is to TinyMCE 7 was updated. We have new content browser widgets. So this is all. I'm not talking about Volto at all. I might mention it. This is all the classic UI part. I'll show the new content browser widgets because there's been some improvement later. We've got some core add-ons. We had Plone Multilingual and Plone Discussion. They have been in core for a long time, at least since the Plone 4 days, and were being pulled in by product CMF Plone. And in Plone 6.1 we've said, not every site is a multilingual site, and not every site needs comments. So we'll make those into core add-ons. That's basically the term that was invented in Plone 6.1 for packages that live between product CMF Plone and Plone. Plone is just the top level package, which basically has no code, but only pulls in some dependencies. Like Plone Up Caching has been there also for a long time, for example, and Plone Up Upgrade even. So multilingual and discussion, they are now basically optional. If you only install product CMF Plone, you don't have those, but you can simply add them. And then a big thing in 6.1 was and still is distributions. You have two core distributions, Plone Classic UI and Plone Volto. Of course, the Plone Volto package has been around for a bit longer and is not just a distribution, but also a lot more that defines some content types or changes existing content types to fit more the Volto use case. But that in 6.1, that's also a distribution, and Plone Classic UI, that's a new package, which is basically only a distribution. So that defines the content and the dependencies that you get when you create a classic UI site. So if you in 6.1 only install product CMF Plone, there's not too much. There's not even you create a site, there's not even a news folder or events folder being created, if I recall correctly. So usually you want one of these two, or you build your own distribution, which should not be that hard even. But that's news from last year. And there's of course ongoing work. 6.1.3 was released last week or week before. 2 weeks ago. In all the bug fix releases, several fixes, improvements have been done to the export-import that's mostly used for the distributions. So that's all a bit new, and we keep finding some ways where it can be a bit better, a bit more stable. That if you import something and then export it, that you don't have hundreds of changes in those things, which should be the same. So that has gotten a lot of improvements. We've replaced all kinds of codes in actual runtime code that was using package resources. That's all a bit outdated and deprecated. We've switched that for import lib metadata and import lib resources. So that's a more modern way to do that. And we'll talk more about that definitely. And then you have native namespaces for the 5 and the Z3C packages, which should be fine for everyone, even if it's in a bug fix release of Plone. There's just a few packages that are within the 5 or Z3C namespaces. And so they are being moved. And recently we've moved all the Plone distributions to a source layout. That's basically, usually if you have, for example, the Plone batching package, then you have, in that package you have a setup.py and you have a Plone directory, within that an init.py and then a batching directory. And with a source layout, you get, okay, you have your setup.py and then a source directory, and within there, it's the Plone. It's basically, okay, move Plone to source/Plone, and that was the biggest part of the change, including all kinds of details and changing your setup.py a bit, but that was moved. Why? Mostly because that makes it easier for pip and setup tools to detect where all your modules actually are, especially if you're using a native namespace. So that will make that transition easier. That has all been done. I think that's all in Plone 6.3. I think there are a few packages left still where there are some problems, mostly with tests. So a few things need to be done, maybe a 5 or so where we still need to do some stuff. And we've improved the content browser widgets. Yeah, so that is new in Plone 6.1, and we keep finding ways to improve that a bit, especially Peter Matthijs has done a lot there. So this is how it looks in 6.1.3, a screenshot from Peter in German actually. So here you see one thing that was changed. We automatically detect which content types are folderish. You basically look at the catalog brains. Oh yeah, is folderish is true. Okay, then we need to show it in here so you can actually browse to content that you are allowed to insert. And in this case, we have a use case where we only want images and a folder with images and files, and you can see the files so you know that they are there, but you can't select them. This seems more intuitive. So that's how it looks now. There are some ways to customize how this is done. So then Plone 6.2, the biggest thing is, we use native namespaces in all packages, and again, we'll get into some details later. There are more packages that we can move into core add-ons, and we're going to make more classic UI page templates optional. And we'll see about Python 3.14 if we can support that, plus a few assorted other items. And it's quite nice up north. We need to talk about setup tools. First some positive things. Python has been known for, Python has batteries included, they say. Those batteries for the packaging related stuff, that includes the distutils module. And that's not quite so good. The battery seems a bit old. It's not really, you can do some things with it, but setup tools came around and fixed in, I guess 2007 or maybe earlier. I haven't looked that up. That at least made it actually possible to do dependency management. I think with plain distutils, you couldn't do anything like, hey, if you install this package, you need to download these other two packages as well. So setup tools invented that basically. Also, if you have C code, like in Zope, you have acquisition, access control. I think about 7 packages in total that have some C code in there. As far as I know, setup tools is still the only packaging manager or packaging tool, how you call it, that's at least without extensions can handle packages with C code. I think for Hatchling there's an extension that you could use. I think for the foreseeable future, at least those packages in Zope will need to continue to use setup tools. So setup tools is not going away. And the last few years there were a lot of standards defined in the packaging related area in Python enhancement proposals. And I think the way most of those probably started was, what would setup tools do? Or, what is setup tools doing currently? And hey, how can that be improved? And can it be improved in a backwards compatible way, if possible? So setup tools has been really important, but nowadays there are other things like Hatchling and Flit, maybe some other tools that you could use to define how your package is working actually. So there are some positive things about setup tools, but every now and then you get a release like 75.8.1, a simple bug fix release. You look in the changelog, fix wheel file naming to follow binary distribution specification. Yeah, sounds innocent enough. But it's just, okay, instead of creating plone.autoinclude.wheel, you get plone_autoinclude.wheel, you upload that to PyPI. Fine enough, but yeah, all hell broke loose. Basically, depending on how you set up your things, you couldn't install Plone, or if you started it, you got all kinds of distribution not found errors, and that was mostly if you in code, which Plone does, called things like, okay, package resources.get distribution plone.autoinclude. And Python would say, yeah, I'm seeing a plone_autoinclude, but yeah, that's a different name, so no, I can't find it. This was a problem both for pip and build out, but yeah, a bit more for build out. For build out, it's also, at the moment of installation, it could already be a problem where pip could at least install the packages, but starting it could still be a problem. And build out had a bit more problems there. And I found back strangely, with pip, I've discovered more problems on Python 3.9 and 3.13 than in the versions in between, which is a bit weird, but for details, see the Plone 6.1.1 release notes where that was basically solved by removing all or most codes in Plone packages that were using package resources. So package resources, just to be clear, that's a part of setup tools, just a module there. We're still using the namespace packages that are defined by package resources. That's still in, but most other usage is gone in 6.1 already. And then, it's setup tools 80. That's basically changed if you call Python setup UI develop. That used to call just some internal code, but now it's calling pip. In the end, pip is calling this mostly the same old internal code of setup tools still. But it's following a different code pattern, which was a bit hard for build out that couldn't handle that at the first point. And in general, that has been for a long time, if you're anywhere calling Python setup UI something, you should not be doing that. That's basically all uses for that have been deprecated. You shouldn't use that. Build-out was still doing that, but I fixed that. It was in setup tools 80.2, removed the package index module. That was also something that was heavily used very much needed by build-out. In the end, I fixed that by basically copying that module to CC build-out, and then it also worked. But build-out had some problems with setup tools, and that tends to happen. Currently, it's still fine with latest 80.9. But 80.9 has set a deadline and they said, okay, the package resources module will be removed at the end of this year. So most likely in what will be called setup tools 81. It could be 82 maybe if there's another major release needed, but most likely 81. And so that's a problem if you're still using that for your namespaces. Then some things about CC build-out. We have version 4.1.12 that can handle a pretty big range of setup tools versions actually, starting from 49 even. There are tests for that. And Plone 6.1 uses this. Well, obviously not the oldest setup tools version. I think 6.1 is also at 80.9. Usually you can, whatever versions of setup tools or build-outs work for you, just use them. But we are testing with the core development is using 80.9 currently. And then CC build-out 5 as an alpha release. Can handle slightly from setup tools 61 and higher, used by Plone 6.2. This has some bigger changes. This uses pip to install all packages. Pip was already being used in some cases. But for example, you download a wheel or source distribution from PyPI and then build it to say, use some, unzip or some other stuff and then call some code from setup tools or other packages to install that. And now we're just saying, I've got that distribution, I've downloaded it. Pip install this please in that directory. So that's more future-proof actually. And we also do that for development packages. So where we first did Python setup UI develop, basically calling that from build-out, for now using the pip equivalent to do that. Also, ZC is now a native namespace. especially for CC build-out and CC recipe arc are developed in dependency a bit. So they are using native namespaces now. And CC build-out 5 installs all namespace packages as native namespaces. Basically, that's what pip actually does. Because pip installs things in a virtual env in, lib side packages, Python 3 something /plone /batching and /plone /memorize, whatever packages you have installed. And there are no init py files in there. And that's basically what build-out now also does. Well, it's still puts it in a directory. You have your args directory from build-out, but we're now putting it in by default in arg/v5. So it's split away from your other args. Otherwise, things get wrong again. So CC build-out is now can now better handle different kinds of namespace packages. We'll see some details from that. There's still some challenges left. If you try CC build-out with the upcoming set of tools 81, I don't think that will work because package resources is gone. And CC build-out still heavily uses package resources basically everywhere, getting working sets, seeing what kind of packages are installed. I've opened an issue about that with some details of what it's doing with package resources. And it seems a lot of work to move that to more modern ways. So that will, if it's possible, it will be tricky. And the danger is that maybe all kinds of recipes and extensions for build-out will also need to be changed. Maybe not, but it sounds tricky, at least to me. And if you don't use setup tools, for example, if you use Hatch or Flit to define your package instead of a setup py, I also could not get that to work with build-out. It's kind of seemed to be able to install, at least in development mode. I'm then talking about, so when you build a config, develop equals some package. But it couldn't find it afterwards, so that did not work. It should be doable, but I did not manage it so far. By the way, it should be possible if you have a setup py to remove that and replace that by projects.tom will define everything there. I did not try it, but I think that should be possible. So the setup py does not have to be there, but for development, it still needs setup tools. So in Plone 7, I think it's likely that we won't be using CC build-out, at least for the core development of Plone. I will happily create a version CFG out of the constraints.txt. That should be no problem. But it can be hard to actually run the tests of the core development with build-out once you have Plone 7, especially if we use the latest setup tools. I think we will no longer be doing that. We'll have to see how hard it is. Maybe it's easy enough, then it's fine, but I think it's going to be hard. But if anyone wants to help in CC build-out maintenance, that's very welcome. A way around, by the way, for if setup tools removes package resources, we could copy the package resources module to CC build-out. That could be a way out to keep it working for a bit longer. I'm not sure if it's a good idea, but it might work and might be needed. Or need to say, okay, just stick to setup tools 80. We also, we'll in the next section I'll talk about a horse. So I thought a picture of a reindeer would be nice. It's I think they've mentioned it, but I don't remember. Don't think it's Rudolph, apparently, but yeah. That's a good one. It has no name, indeed, So native namespaces, part 1 of 3, if you want to know. You have 3 styles of namespaces in Python. You have package resources namespaces, so that's from setup tools. You have package util, which is built into Python, and you have native namespaces. The native namespaces are available since Python 3.3. And that basically means you have no special init.py needed. So if you have a Plone package, plone.memorize, you have your source/plone directory /memorize, and with package resource, it's source Plone and then an init.py file with some strange code in there, package resources.declare namespace Plone. And a similar thing for if you were using package util. With native namespaces, that's not needed. Python knows how to handle that basically, or pip knows how to handle that, or current build-out 5 knows how to handle that. Almost all of the Zoop packages have been switched over already. That's, yeah, thank you very much, Michael Howitz, who did most of the work, or IceMac. So that has been done already. Problems with if you use namespace packages, if you have Plone.x, which uses package resources style, and Plone.y, which has native namespaces style, that can work, but there can be problems. If both are basically CC Build.4 cannot handle any combination there. That just doesn't work. If both packages are just normally installed, just okay, install version 1.0 of these packages, then yeah, that's fine in pip, it's fine in CC Build.5, that's no problem. If both those packages are editable installs, so two styles of namespaces within the same namespace, that doesn't work anywhere except if you use our special horse with no namespace. That's a package by David Glick, which basically patches something in package resources or some other thing. I think it's in package resources indeed, which basically makes those styles of namespaces be able to live alongside each other. That was some pretty smart code in there. Not even that long actually. It's not too much code. If you don't understand the name, then you should look for Horse with No Name. That's a song that's called that way. Quite old, but a nice one. So it's a good name here. And furthermore, if you have one package normal and one in an editable install, that actually works fine in pip. And in CC Build.5, that also works fine if you use that Horse with No namespace. So I think in the Plone core development build-out, we've added that Horse with No namespace in the requirements txt currently. So that's actually quite good. This also means that it's not truly needed to say, okay, we sit together one day to port over all Plone.star packages to native namespaces. It's okay if that takes a few days or a few weeks. Without the core development or the testing processes won't be broken by that. That should all just keep working fine. But we do want to do that. So yeah, in 6.2 Alpha 1, the idea is that all Plone packages should also be native namespaces. We'll need a Zoop release for that. I think that will be called Zoop 6. Probably, yeah. And so we'll use that in... We'll probably use Zoop 6 in Plone 6.2, and we'll probably stick to Zoop 5 for Plone 6.1. I'm just thinking about that. And so for all Plone packages, we'll need to create a branch that will be used in Plone 6.1, and then the main or master branch will move to native namespaces. That's a breaking change, a new major version for each package, except for the Plone and product CMF Plone packages. Yeah, for those who think, that's fine to do in a minor release. It's especially because CC build-out and pip can handle it, especially in combination with that Horse with No name space. So we'll do that in a 6.2 minor release. For the core development, all the tests, it might be needed to add that Horse with No namespace to our shared test setup in Plone Meta, but maybe it's actually fine because we're using pip for that everywhere. But we need to check that, but basically we could start today moving things over to native namespaces for 6.2. Then there's of course the collective namespace, which is also rather big. So what do we do with that? Well, I can't decide that. There's no one who can decide that. I think Fred will partially talk about that also somewhere today. But who is governing the collective namespace and the collective organization? That's a different discussion. I would say if you own a collective, if you maintain a collective package, you can start using native namespaces if you are working on Plone 6.2 or higher. And you can talk with each other and say, hey, is it okay if I use this even if we're still compatible with 6.1 and 6.0. Just talk with each other from, hey, is this okay or not? But yeah, with CC Build 5 and the horse with no name switch, it should all be okay. We also did this actually quite close to the Russian border, but that was also nice to do. Getting a bit speed. Yeah, we'll do more core add-ons in Plone 6.2. At least there are some candidates that we could move to core add-ons. So again, that's some packages that are pulled in by CMF Plone currently, but that are not really needed by all Plone sites. We moved them above product CMF Plone. For example, yeah, Plone Up Customize, that's used by the port of view customizations tool. If you don't know it, okay, please don't use it. You should not be using it because it's mostly not. That was a nice thing to customize the template in the portal skins. But if you can use it for customizing templates in browser views, but usually if you press a button there, yeah, customize this template, at that moment it's already broken because a whole new permission mechanism gets into place basically. And it's you can be lucky that it works, but most of the time it probably doesn't. So we don't want to encourage it anymore, so that's a good candidate to let it still be pulled in by Plone probably. But yeah, make it optional in Plone 7, really remove it. Then we need to write an upgrade step to properly remove it if it's no longer needed. Also content rules, I don't think I am using or my clients are using any content rules in my Plone sites. There are probably lots of Plone sites that do use them, but for me that's also a candidate to move into a core add-on to make it optional, because yeah, not everyone really needs it. But yeah, that needs someone to do the work for that. It should not be too hard, but yeah, you need to know a bit what you're doing. Then also, yeah, there's portlets. How many portlets does Volto use? 0. Well, yeah, probably a few, because they are created still. I think they are still created if you create a Volto site. Not completely sure actually, but just the standard stuff that's defined in the site routes, also in classic UI. Yeah, but yeah, Volto does not show them anywhere. It doesn't need them, so it would be good to move that on top of CMF Plone as well. And also, yeah, you have the several packages there: Plone Up portlets, Plone portlets, portlet collection, static, and also 2 portlets within Plone Up event. I think originally those 2 were actually in Plone Up portlets, then moved to Plone Up event. And it might now be good to move them to Plone Up portlets again. And basically puts all portlets in one package. That's at least one way to do that, to move all these together. Then you have just one repository at least to manage all those. And they could still use the same module names, so that we don't need to move anything from Plone.portlets to Plone Up portlets. We should not need to move any classes or anything. That should work. There's a plan for that. I'd like to work on it if I have time. But also, this is one case. You see Plone Up portlets and Plone portlets. We have a couple of packages that use the same pattern. That you have Plone.portlets, which has basic definition of what is a portlet, and at least theoretically that could be used in a SOAP project or maybe a CMF project. And then in Plone Up portlets is the Plone integration, like a control panel and the actual portlets that are in there. But for a lot of packages where we've made that split, it's not really used outside of Plone as far as we know. We've asked around a bit. A few cases it is used. For example, Plone.testing can be used in SOAP. So we definitely keep that. But for portlets, it seems fine to combine everything in one. More classic white page templates can be made optional. We have a goal here. Volto does not use any page templates. So if we can remove that from the Volto point of view, that would be good. We just need to ship less code if you create a Volto site. And it can be nice to move all remaining page templates together for easier finding. For example, if we switch from Bootstrap 5 to Bootstrap 6 if that exists at that point in Plone 7, it's bad if you need to hunt through 30 packages for all the page templates, make branches for that, and that's not a fun thing. to do. And so if we can move all those together, that could be a nice thing to have. Problem, yeah, you would then also need to move browser views also probably there. Otherwise you have your Python code in one package and your page templates in another. That's not good. So we'll have to see on a package by package basis if that's feasible to do, if it's useful. Maybe if there's just one page template somewhere, then you may say, okay, just keep it there. So we can gradually move that over, and the more we do in Plone 6.2 or 6.3 for that, the less we need to do in Plone 7. That works for Plone Locking and Plone Protect. We already did that. That was some small changes, and moved them to Plone Up Layout. And so in Plone 6.2, you will still have product CMF Plone that depends on Plone Up Layout, and once you have Plone 7, the idea would be that Plone Up Layout sits on top. Then you would have Plone Classic UI that would pull in Plone Up Layout. I think, for example, Plone REST API also uses something from Plone Up Layout, so we need to move some stuff there and be careful there that we don't break too many things. In Plone 7, it's possible to break some things, but we don't want to force too many changes upon people. We'll be careful with that. Python 3.14 was released last week, actually. So go and look up all the changes that have been done there. Problem, you have the Chameleon package that's used in also for page templates, and the version that we are using is not compatible with Python 3.14. That has been fixed earlier this year already, but if we then use that version, then several SOAP tests start failing, and nobody really knows why yet. So we need to figure out what that is. If you want to look into that, see issue 438 in Chameleon. So that's a problem. And also, there's C code and SOAP packages that needs updates. Several packages have been handled already. That's again by Michael Hoyts, who does the most work there actually. And look at SOAP issue 1259 if you want to help and see the status. And some assorted other things. Recycle bin is coming. Sorry, Rohan Shaw. He has made several pull requests that I still need to look at. They're only months old and also changed quite a bit. Thank you, David Lick, for reviewing those so far. Some changes are needed. We'll have to see if that lands in 6.2 or 6.3. It can be that it can land in Plone 6.2 and maybe a control panel for Volto will be a bit later. That could be. We'll have to see about that. So that's basically, okay, if you delete the page, you wouldn't actually delete it, but it would be in a recycle bin where if you have enough permission, you can actually get it out again. And I suppose there's some button, delete everything for you. So that's in the works. That can be quite cool. And again, sorry, Rohan. He's improving the discussions. And I haven't looked at that also. He's improving the comment moderation UI. That can be a bit complicated. What does which button do? And he's introducing word-based content filtering. So that's basically spam detection, or at least some hooks in there that you can use, and a way to ban users. I'm not sure how that looks, but probably similar to how it works on communityplone.org, where at least the admins can say, this is a spam user, delete it. So that's if you want to try that out, see issue 4187. Yes, I actually saw the Northern Lights when I was here 9 years ago. The photos aren't too good, but it was very nice to see. I see 1 minute, which is good. So I also saw a picture there. I think that was in a museum, and I pretty much think this is the Plone logo on all those logs. And it was from a century ago or something. So that was nice to see. I'm glad I took that picture 9 years ago. So I see on plone.org/download/release schedule. You can see the release schedule, how long everything is maintained, and what we mean with maintenance support and security support and things like that. So go look that up if you wonder, hey, where are we in the cycle? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Maurits. Now, do we have any questions for? I will try to get this mic to over there somehow.
Hi, thanks for the talk. Not a question, but just a general remark. For the front end, we have a vision with Plone 7. Do we have a vision for the back end for the next 5 to 10 years? Because the underlying technology of SOAP and Plone is pretty old, at least 25 to almost 30 years old. So SOAP came around 98. And we basically have a lot of outdated legacy technology under the hood, like the CUDB, which is not scalable, the C catalog, which is working to some degree. I'm missing some kind of vision for the back end over the next, perhaps, decade, which basically the technology is old. We have to maintain it. And also, all the maintainers, lots of people here are basically around since 10 to 25 years in the Plone and SOAP business. And people are getting older, people are going to retire, okay, new guys coming back. Do we have some kind of vision for that? How we want to modernize the Plone backend for over the next 5 to 10 years in order to have something that we can maintain?
No. Well, we have been maintaining it for 25 years. It's still working, and yeah, depending on the size of your database, I'm still quite happy with the CUDB actually. So for me, from my side, that's actually working fine. But yeah, there's a lot of old code in there. Yeah, one thing is there has been talk about, hey, should we replace all the C codes in SOAP with Rust, for example? Someone wants to work that could be a way that would still not really change the architecture, just the code behind it. So that's not too much of an answer, I guess. Yeah, there are ways that we could improve it. Probably, yeah, someone needs to do the work. Yeah, we can sit together at some point at a sprint, talk about what are the possibilities in there. Yeah, for the catalog. Yeah, there are. Yeah, you obviously know there are ways to put Solar in there, which can be useful. Yeah, for large sites especially. So there are at least, I think in a lot of cases, yeah, there are options that you can already use with some adapters, and yeah, the underlying technology can be improved. There are ways, yeah, people need to sit together for that. I don't really have a plan for that, except yeah, keeping the packaging related stuff also up to date. Try to modernize the backend so it's still keep it maintainable. For the moment, yeah, but, yeah, there is room for improvement, yeah, but no big plans currently. Yeah.
There's one other question over here.
Thanks, Maurits, for the talk. I actually have 3 questions, but they are interlinked. One of the first things also plays with what Andreas has said, the long-term vision. And I do see that most of the new stuff is happening in Volto on the front end. But the back end needs to be stable, needs to involve with it. And one of the good things we have is the pluggable infrastructure that the Plone people also use in other frameworks in such way to do, and the capabilities of plugging other sources into. So there's a lot of things. Can't we get rid of legacy elements that we don't need to maintain anymore? And I do think SETC build-out is one of the components that is not needed anymore with the new Python packaging systems and things over there. One of the things. The other thing is we do see several new packages coming up replacing old things. I remember Jens has done a Plone version check a few years ago, which was way ahead of that what SETC or SET3C version check has done. But the community still maintained SET3 version check. So there, in some ways, has till a few weeks ago or something I've seen. The thing is, can we also improve communication, which are the new things that replacing old ones in a better way by the community to focus on our limited resources on the things we actually probably need to enhance the backend and not waste our time on certain things?
Yeah, there communication there can be hard. Yeah, partially it's okay. Look at which packages are used in the Plone core development where the work is being done, and yeah, other packages are probably not used that much. But then, yeah, for example, I've worked a lot on CC build out this year, improving that, and yeah, for some people that's still very much needed. But yeah, it does take away time from more real core Plone work. So that's a choice you have to make from. So which I indeed think, I think with Plone 7 it's maybe tricky to still support CC build out. Let's focus on something else and improving that part. It is always the case. For example, how do you install Plone? You currently have cookie Plone to set up stuff, and Docker images. Now a lot of energy is being put into that, and then some people are maintaining the older ways as far as possible. The energy is more in the Docker related stuff and also in Volto. Partially a lot of changes are needed in Volto because a lot of things are possible there, and the backend just needs to be stable, which can be still be challenging itself enough. Mostly it's also looking at what kind of deprecation warnings are there, and we can't use this package anymore, or it has we're using a package that's last been updated on PyPI 10 years ago. Maybe if we notice that, then hey, it might be time to either take that over, pull it in, or change to something else. I think that's it. Yeah.
I don't think we have time anymore. So if you have any questions, ask after the break or during the break. So thank you for Maurits for this, and let's have him a round of applause.